All right, thanks very much, Sakina. Let's get into our news at 7 now. There is a heavy police presence at the Phillipi East police station as a massive joint operation between the SANDF and the police gets underway on the Cape Flats. Police Minister Phillipi East announced during his budget vote speech last night that President Cyril Ramaphosa had approved the SANDF deployment to support police. The SANDF will assist with providing cordons, searches, foot and vehicle patrols and air support. He said the request for assistance from the army was made after last weekend when 13 people were killed in just 48 hours in Phillipi East. Cele has urged police to bring down the high crime rate in the Western Cape, where gang shootings have seen a spike in murders in the last few years. All right, for the latest on the joint operation, let's go back now to Vanessa Puna, who's in Belhar, and that, of course, in the Cape Flats. Vanessa, good morning to you once again. I think the question that many people are wanting is a bit of a reaction from the community. I'm not sure if you've had an opportunity to talk to them and to hear their reaction to finally having their calls heeded.
Indeed, we did manage to speak to some residents in Phillipi East, some of them from the area, others from Lower Crossroads. One gentleman in particular, Amos Dube, telling us that just last week he was stabbed, saying that the area has been a crime hotbed for a number of years. And when asked whether he welcomed the police contingent that have been out and about since very early this morning, from 2 o'clock this morning they were deployed, he welcomes the police deployment, as well as the fact that the South African National Defence Force will be joining police in the operations following the announcement made by the police minister last night. When I asked him and I probed him to ask why he says this, he said that sometimes police do not respond when communities call them, citing lack of resources and so on. But he also says that he believes that the South African Defence Force will indeed act as a stabilizer for the community. Now, at the moment, Leanne, we are in Belhar at the moment. We expect a police convoy to make their way to 35 Squadron, and we understand that at 7 o'clock, which is in the next few minutes, or rather has come and gone, there will be a briefing by the various, or for the various officers that had been deployed. We know that over 80 police officers from the Public Order Policing Service had been deployed to Cape Town to assist over 115 officers on the ground here, of course, to be deployed to various areas across Cape Town. Today as well, we can expect similar operations which happened in Phillipi East to take place in areas such as the Nova Park, areas such as Delft, which has also seen quite a spike in gang violence, as well as areas such as Mitchell's Plain and Nyanga, and of course those then cited as the hotspots for crime here in the Western Cape. Now, we know that the deployment of the police as well as the SANDF will also tackle issues such as farm murders in the outlying rural areas, not just in the CBD. I hear behind me some sirens. Let me just step out of shot for a second to check whether indeed that would be the police convoy. I don't see any blue lights as yet, but they are expected to start making their way very, very shortly for that briefing that is scheduled to take place here this morning.
All right, Vanessa Puna, thanks very, very much for that. Let's just ask one final question, if you're able to hear us, just in terms of the timing of this deployment. Do we have any idea how long the SANDF are going to be deployed to these areas?
Yeah, and it's uncertain at this stage, but I have read that it will be for quite a couple of months. And of course, you will know that it is an issue that has been around for quite a while, with communities as well as various other role players calling for the deployment of the South African National Defence Force. And I would think that following the murders in Phillipi last weekend, of course, we know that 6 women were gunned down in Marcus Garvey, and then the following day 5 men were also killed in 2 separate gun attacks. And of course, Leanne, behind me, the police convoy, sorry if I can just show you, they are just making their way to 35 Squadron now. You'll see quite a number of blue lights, and have heard, of course, the sirens And there they are, the police contingent that would have left Phillipi East a short while ago, now making their way here to this briefing where they will be debriefed, and of course they will then receive orders in terms of where next they will be deployed across the Cape Flats this morning. But to answer your question again, Leanne, I think that the murders that happened in Phillipi last weekend, 11 people killed in a space of 48 hours, there were killings in Anova Park, but it's not just because of last weekend. I think it has been an ongoing upsurge in gang violence, in gun violence, and areas across the Cape Metro have been experiencing this high crime volumes. And Minister Bheki Cele, of course, saying that, speaking to his counterpart, writing then to President Cyril Ramaphosa, requesting for the deployment of the South African National Defence Force, which we have not seen on the ground as yet this morning, but it's in anticipation of them joining the police to curb this rampant violent crime that has communities literally living in fear and telling us on numerous occasions over the past couple of years that they feel as though they're living like hostages in their own homes.
Vanessa Puna, thanks very much. We'll continue again, as you heard, to get updates from her this morning. All right, let's move on now.